and welcome back to the Uncensored Redhead. Today I have a very special guest. I have Miss Kelsey C. She's one of my longtime friends from elementary school.
Yeah.
Today's topic is going to be on moving to another country. She's grown up in the United States and she moved to Australia, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. Kelsey used to be on YouTube here as KS Make Up Your Face, so it's a little weird to be back on camera.
Oh, definitely.
Transition.
Definitely. But yeah, so excuse the awkwardness. It's been a while, but I love to talk. So thank you for having me, the Uncensored Redhead.
Well, I think I filmed your first video on YouTube.
You were in it, actually, yes. So I just wanted to play around, just hang out and, you know, apply makeup. And I applied a foundation that was like 3 shades way too dark for her. But we did it at night, so it didn't fit. We didn't know lighting, we didn't know camera. I was even borrowing my sister's camera at the time. And it was just a blooper reel, basically. But it was so much fun, just getting to play with makeup and things. So yeah, no, that was fun.
It was fun. We had a very fun time. We had some funny videos.
Yes.
So I figured it was only fitting that because I was in her first YouTube video a long time ago, she's going to be my first special guest on this first special segment. You've been in my other like videos and vlogs and stuff, but this is like really special to me, so I wanted you to be my
Love you! Oh, love you!
So the first question, why did you move to Australia?
Alrighty, so for those of you who don't know, I was in a long distance relationship with my now husband. His name is Bryce, and we dated long distance for about six years before we got married, and then 2 days later it was like, okay, let's get over there. So we were kind of in the process around like the 5-year mark, deciding who was gonna go where. I was just finishing up at school and college, and so I just needed to find a job, really. And Bryce is established, he's an accountant, so he already had a job. Yeah, it would just be silly if I asked him to drop all of that and then move to California. It just seemed like an easier transition if I had moved over there. So in a nutshell answer, I moved for love, but in the long-term answer, it was more so just trying to get my life moving. It was kind of at that point in a crossroad where do I like, you know, move for like my job, or do I like, what do I do? And it just seemed like the correct thing to do is just to move to Australia. So that is the answer.
That's taking a big risk. I know I personally would never be able to get up, leave, move countries. When you love someone, you gotta do it, you know? And like, I feel like I watched your guys' relationship grow. Like, they would FaceTime night and day. Like, he'd be sleeping, she'd have him on FaceTime next to her bed during our daytime. And if she needed something, she'd unmute it and be like, babe, wake up. And I just remember God, I would never be able to do this. Like, that is strong. Yeah. That is so strong of you.
But you know, when I did an exchange student trip my junior year of high school. This was like the summer before. And I was gonna be gone for 1 month. And I did a 4-day trip up to Brisbane, where Bryce's family lives, just to, you know, like, do some more extra sightseeing and stuff. And I remember coming back from that trip, she was like, I'm gonna miss you. And I came back on that trip and I showed her a photo of Bryce, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so smitten by him. I remember this so vividly.
And I'm like, Kelsey, he lives in Australia. Like, what are you thinking? Oh, and here we are now.
Yeah, I wrote him a letter because
as he sits in the background over there shaking his head.
I wrote him a letter just like expressing how I felt and that I was so smitten, and he wrote me back on Facebook. As soon as I arrived in LA, I checked my Facebook and he wrote me back, and he was like, so we're not talking a drivable distance here. I don't think this is gonna work out. You're a little too young for me. And so Bryce was 19 and I was 16.
Oh, yeah.
And while that doesn't seem like a very big gap at that time, it does seem quite big.
16 to 19 was a very different,
different time.
Mental, aware, like all of it.
Yeah, and so I just kept talking to him. I eventually reeled him in. I was like, "You're mine. I'm gonna do it." I'm very headstrong.
I am mature.
If I want something, I work hard to get it. Yeah, exactly. He asked my dad for permission to court me, which I did not know this until our wedding day, which I thought that was so kind. And then, so we talked for about 3 months before he asked me to be his girlfriend, and then we dated long distance for 6 years. Yeah.
And they would, like, literally, summer, you would go there.
Yeah.
Christmas time, he would come here.
That's right, yeah.
Sometimes it would be a year span where they didn't see each other, but they made it work, man. Goals right there.
Goals.
That's love.
Hashtag goals.
Hashtag goals and hashtag love. True love. Oh my goodness. Okay, what's my next question? So, what is the hardest challenge that you face moving to Australia?
I think the thing that tops it as far as one of the biggest challenges moving overseas was, I think, finding friends and just being social and kind of starting fresh, starting new. Like, I didn't have any of my family there, none of my friends, so I started completely from scratch. Something that I think this will kind of steer into your next question that you had.
Yeah.
So this was probably the first 3 months that I had lived there. I was pretty much just at home. I didn't have a job. I just, stayed at home for all hours of the day. So when Bryce would go to work, I would just be at home doing absolutely nothing. And I kid you not, that's the truth. It's like nothing. I wouldn't clean. I wouldn't do anything. I would just lay there.
Would you say you were kind of depressed?
Yeah, I would. It was a very hard transition, but eventually, you start to work your way out of it. But I think just feeling like you can't turn to anybody because you don't know anybody, that was a little bit difficult. But you eventually acclimate, and it's I'm fine now. So
yeah, she's very much transitioned.
Yes.
Now. So how long did it take you to find a job?
So I did a lot of so as Haley mentioned, I used to have a YouTube channel. So I would sort of take that part of my hobby and I kind of transform that into my career. So I was doing a lot of freelance work at the time where I would anybody needed a makeup artist, I would drive sometimes like an hour to somebody's house just to do makeup for 30 minutes because that's all you can do is just work with what you got. And so I'd say I started doing actual work probably like 6 months into moving to Australia. And then I started to attend, they call it TAFE, which is similar to like a community college or just to receive a certificate. And so I received my certificate in makeup so that way I could find a more stable job, just because I know the regulations are different in Australia where they actually won't trust you if you don't have any sort of thing to back up your work. So I would tell people, oh, I'm self-taught, and nobody would take me seriously. So I went to TAFE probably around April of 2018, and I'm so sorry. I went to TAFE around April 2017 and finished in November 2017. And I also met a lot of people, very like-minded people who love makeup as well. And that's kind of how I started to make friends.
Yeah, I was going to say making friends was easier once you got involved in something that you both enjoy, obviously. But that's so cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever consider moving back home?
There would be times where I would literally just want to throw everything in. I want to go home. So when Bryce and I got married, one of our agreements was that I would like to come back to the States at least once a year. That would be ideal, but things happen, things come up, and so sometimes that can't always happen. But 2018 was a very rough year for me where I was pretty ready to just drop everything and I wanted to move back. But I think so I started to go to therapy. I started, just learning more about myself, understanding my self-worth, and just, I guess for once putting myself first.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed my mindset around, and I learned that it doesn't matter where I am, I'm always going to have challenges. And it's just a matter of changing your mindset and knowing that you can make anything work if you just change your mindset. So yeah, I'd say I did.
Mindset is huge.
Yeah, so I would say I did, but I'm happy with where I'm at now, and I'm happy with, you know, my job. I'm happy with my house and my dog, and so I'd say probably at this stage, if you ask me would I move back, I'd say probably not.
Yeah. And you mentioned to me earlier when we were talking that Gucci, her dog's name is Gucci.
After Gucci Mane, not the brand, just clarifying the rapper.
That's so funny. So that he was very helpful to you when you felt sad, and that's how you kind of coped with it, because you had something.
What y'all eating?
Oh, he's making themselves a drink over there.
Oh, nice. Thanks guys for sharing.
Yeah. Shoot. That's who we should have on the show. Drunk Talks with Haley. In another series, Drunk Talks with Haley. That's when I get really deep. Oh, I'm going to make that a thing. You saw it here. It's happening. Every Friday night.
So when we first moved there and I was feeling really depressed, I actually went to go see a therapist, and my therapist recommended that I go find people that had similar interests to me, and which, you know, I've always said to Bryce, I really want to get a dog. Yeah. We were kind of in that part of our relationship where it was already kind of difficult having to take care of each other. So what more with bringing in another living being into this mix is going to be a little bit hard. Yeah. But it was really great because we would take Gucci to like the dog park, or, you know, I would go take him on walks around where we live, and every single day I would walk a little bit further, and I would find, you know, like new dog parks to go to, or, you know, I would think to myself, I can't even believe this existed. I didn't know this existed. And so it helped having to do that, helped looking forward to something, and it also helped just meeting new people. We would go to the dog park and just people who also love their dog, you know? And so
another thing, like the makeup thing,
so we found people who just are so genuine and loving people from the dog park, and that I would say was probably one of the, you know, the best decisions we've made was to get a dog. So yeah, Gucci. I love Gucci. He's my
to me Gucci.
Yes, he's my man. So love him.
Like, what's the biggest eye opener you had? Like,
I usually tell people this when people ask me, oh, like, what do you find different? Like, and so my first answer I always say is the people in Australia are very friendly and very nice. Coming from LA, I feel like we can say people here aren't very friendly, but Australian people are just very selfless people. You know, especially when you're driving on the road, if you indicate 9 times out of 10, the person will be like, okay, go ahead. But here, it's a very
like, nobody
I'm gonna speed up. So yeah,
you
exactly.
Can't get in. I'm gonna ride with you, so you can't get in the lane.
Yeah.
Nobody is nice here.
And I think also the other thing that took me a while to adjust to was portion sizes. Everything there is so small in comparison to here. The one that I usually give as an example is our venti Starbucks drink is the grande here, which I'm always thinking to myself, like, that thing is so tiny. I've only ever known it to be like 3 times the size.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, so that was probably something that really hit me hard. I was like, I don't know.
I'm sorry. I said venti.
Yeah.
This is our venti. Oh.
Yeah. So it's like,
where you said everyone's super nice there, so I'm assuming, but were they accepting to the fact that, like, you're American and you're not Australian? Like, how were people, like, would they treat you differently? Like, or what do you think?
I feel like most, like, strangers on the street, they treat you normally. They treat you the same.
Yeah,
so
they don't know.
Yeah. But, for example, at my work, I have some coworkers that tell me, oh, I would totally trust you because you have an accent. And so I'm
trust
like,
you.
Yeah. So I think it's because the accent is different to theirs. Whatever comes out of my mouth, they're like, oh, I believe it. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh my.
Do you want a moisturizer with that? So yeah. But other than that, no, I feel like most times people are pretty friendly all around. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if.
Because I feel like when we meet people, like if I was to meet an Australian here, I'm like, you're so cool. Like, talk to me, or like tell me, like, what's different, like blah blah blah, and like, I don't know, was it hard to like Is there something with ketchup that's different?
Yeah, so they call
I remember Morgan telling me that. Ketchup or...
No, they call it tomato sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but...
Catsup.
But it's actually tomato sauce. Like, it's not ketchup. So you know how our ketchup here it's a little bit vinegary, it's
sugar, sweeter.
Yeah, so for them, they don't have ketchup, it's tomato sauce because it's actual tomato sauce.
That's so disgusting. Do you use it? Do you like it?
I usually ask for ketchup. It's a little bit more just like tomato-y. You may hate it, actually.
Yeah, I probably hate it.
You may hate it. Yeah. So I was telling Haley and Jamie this, but my tolerance for dairy is pretty bad in Australia, and I think because everything's creamier and richer. But here in the States, I find that it's not as bad. Like, I can eat cheese and I'll feel it later, but like it's not as bad.
To a bigger extent.
Yeah.
Really.
But yeah, no, it's not as bad here. So I think that's pretty different. So they call their candy lollies. So the lolly aisle.
Oh.
Yeah. So and their candy is usually a little bit like not as sweet. It's a little bit healthier, dare I say, but I say that our stuff here is pretty like full of fat, full of sugar, processed. But in Australia, they had like 95% sugar-free or like less sweet and stuff like that. So yeah, that was interesting to get used to.
Do you feel like you missed the food aspect the most, like moving there? Or what was the biggest thing that you missed besides like your family?
Yeah, I'd say food. Food is, I still can't say that I've 100% acclimated to the food. Yeah. That is probably one of the most difficult.
You're so used to something for so long, like what age did you move there? 22?
22, yeah, I was 22.
So 22 years of eating American food. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. I can't even imagine.
Or even just like things stay open later here than they do over there. Yeah. So a restaurant can be open until like 1 p.m. and then they'll shut until 5 and then stay open until 8. So you only have like windows of opportunity. Yeah, and like even the shopping mall is shut at 5:30 or 6 o'clock every day.
Oh my gosh, I go there at that time.
Yeah, and so versus here, everything shuts at like 9, 11, and I love that if I need something, I can just run out and go grab it.
Because people work like 9 to 5 jobs and they don't have any other time.
That's right. Yeah. So that was probably something too that I'm still getting used to is the food and the timing. Yeah. But yeah, food is my number one. I love food. I love food.
What's the biggest food item that you miss? Is it like boba or is it like?
I'd say there's like a like 3-way tie. So I love Vietnamese pho. That's probably like love it. And then also fried chicken. Like the only fried chicken really is KFC in Australia, and there's so many different options available for fried chicken here. I love that. And then Mexican food. I love Mexican, really authentic, like. Yes.
What is your advice for someone moving to another country?
Something that I had a big problem with was not wanting to go outside of my comfort zone. Yeah. I was very much just in my own bubble, like just rice, meat, little Gucci. That's it. And if I hadn't ventured out there, I wouldn't really have met the people that I've met, and I wouldn't learn the things that I have learned. So I'd say that while it is uncomfortable at first to be stepping out of your comfort zone, like try to push yourself.
Would you still choose the route that you chose, long distance wise?
Wow, that's a good question.
Any regrets?
And no regrets, not even one letter. I'd probably say that no, I wouldn't change the decisions that I made. It definitely was tough. Like, I would never wish for somebody to go through a long distance relationship. It's definitely not something that I wish on anybody, even my worst enemies. It's awful. Yeah. But I think that it taught me a lot. It taught me how to be very like independent on our own, as well as like, there's a level of dependency, but like quite independent. Yeah. I also find that we have like a level of trust that is really hard you can't just you have to
you
trust
have
each
to
other.
be a certain type of person, because I know a lot of girls that are just, no matter what the guy does, or vice versa, no matter what the girl does, they just don't trust them. And I feel like if you don't have that level of trust, like that's the number one thing.
And communication is very important. And I'd say that while it is tough going through it, I wouldn't say that I am where I am. Yeah, exactly. And I owe a lot to Bryce. I think that he's a very understanding person. He's a very patient. He's very patient.
I was gonna say calm.
Just be calm. He's very patient, and I think that that helps. He balances me out, because I can be quite like high strung and controlling, and he's very like patient with me, and so I think that it definitely helps. To have somebody like him. So
definitely.
You can't have him. He's mine.
Well, he's definitely a great guy, and I don't picture you with anybody else.
Yeah,
I think I've seen you.
And likewise, like with Jamie. I think, hi, Jamie. Just kidding.
I think that's all the questions. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you so much for having me. I think that is like such a fun and exciting thing to do, and I can't believe I'm honored to be her first guest on the Uncensored Redhead.
And I think it went perfectly smoothly, and like, I'm excited. No,
Same.
I'm super excited, as this was my like test run thing that I wanted to see how it went, and you made it very exciting for me.
Thanks.
So,
thank you for having me. Honestly, it's truly an honor, and I am, so eager to see what else you come up with in your show, and your, if we're going to turn this into a podcast, amazing. I'm so excited. So yes, be sure to catch the Uncensored Redhead. This is like self promo, like.
You do it for me.
But I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks so much for watching. If you stayed till the end, you're awesome, and I hope you picked up some advice from this or learned something about another person. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of the Uncensored Redhead, where nothing is censored. You can say whatever you want and be whoever you want to be, which is hopefully true to yourself.
And everything's redhead.
And everything's redhead.
That's never gonna get old. I'm gonna stick to that.
They're gonna be like, what does that even mean?
It's okay. Chaos Make Up Your Face, where I teach you how to make up your face. That never made sense.
But it was just catchy.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one, or I'll see you in the next one.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye. Yay! We did it.
That was great.
I love